Have you ever heard of a noodle grabber? If not, it's probably not what you think. It's one of these. It's a utensil for picking up and draining noodles. And I happen to be in a situation where I need to make a noodle grabber, but not a little one, like the biggest one in the world. Now, before you say it, I'll go ahead and say it. This is a really dumb idea, but it's fun. And even more importantly than that, I get to learn a new skill. And that skill is carving pink insulation foam. Sculpting something out of this foam is something I've never really had a good reason to do. And this is still not a good reason, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Here's the plan. I took some rough measurements from an actual noodle grabber and then translated that into something that would end up being 10 or 11 feet long. It doesn't really matter, it just needs to be big. Eventually, we're gonna sculpt everything down to this shape, but that means we have to start with something bigger. So first, we gotta cut and build up an oversized shape somehow. I don't really know how this is gonna go. Let's just cut some foam. Now I really don't have a good idea what I'm doing here. Basically, I'm just trying to stack up the pieces to get more material than I'm gonna need so that I can then sculpt it down to something that's smooth and curvy. But all these pieces are gonna have to be reinforced. They have to be attached and strung together. So I have to put something in between them as well as glue them together. And the end of this thing has to be attached in a strong way to a long handle so I can actually use it. So the utility knife is working fine, but it's just kind of slow, and I can feel it getting dull very, very quickly. So for the teeth, the little triangle pieces, I think I'm gonna use the bandsaw. I think this is gonna work pretty well, except I'm a little bit worried about carving these teeth in place. Like, they have to be strong enough attached for me to be able to carve on them to smooth everything out. I'm not sure how that's gonna work. So instead, I'm gonna make the spoon part first without these, and then I can carve these and stick them in place and adjust them before I finally attach them. But before I even do the spoon, I have to work on the handle. So this thing has to be light enough for me to actually use it, but also strong enough for me to actually use it. So I've got this PVC pipe, and I'm gonna try to run this down through the middle of it, just as a way to connect all of this and give it a little bit more flexible strength. I mean, this is definitely gonna bend. It's not really solid, but it should keep it together, theoretically. So this is above. This is gonna have to be up here. Pipe has to go in between. The groove can't be too big because then nothing will touch. I need contact, 3/4 inch. Make a 7/16 groove down the middle. Oh, I could do that with the table saw blade. I spent some time trying to figure out how to get a channel down the middle of this thing in both pieces so the pipe can be sandwiched. It turns out the table saw is the way to do it. Check this out. Huh. Well, that was awesome. That worked way better than I thought it was going to. I gotta be honest, I've actually been procrastinating on starting this project for like 3 days just because I didn't know how it was gonna go. And I don't know why I did that, because this stuff's actually pretty easy to work with, at least so far. But next up, I gotta start gluing it together, and I'm gonna use some spray adhesive. Check this out. I've used Super 77 a whole bunch of times. I did not realize that 90 exists, and this is actually probably the best stuff to use for this. That's a recommendation from my podcast mate, Jimmy DiResta. In case you didn't know, Jimmy DiResta, David Picciuto, and I have been doing a podcast for over 10 years now, and we've got our episode 500 coming up soon. I'll put a link to the show down below if you want to hear 3 people talk about making stuff all the time. All right, let's try this out. Now, one of the really bad things about spray adhesive is that it gets everywhere. Literally gets on everything, and everything feels sticky forever. So that's just how my shop's gonna be now. Huh, cool. Okay. All Perfect. This stuff works great so far, and I think I see why. The nozzle on this is very different than the 77. This has like a line and it sprays it out in a little stripe, which is way more efficient than just like every single place possible with the 77. So thanks, Jimmy. All right, problem number one. The PVC pipe, it's just too flexible.
I mean, this is definitely gonna bend.
It feels really sketchy even picking it up, much less using it. So we're gonna pull the PVC out and instead use metal conduit. I also went up in size. This conduit is 1 inch instead of 3/4 inch so that it's nice and tight in there, but it also means that the hole might be a little bit too small, so I'm gonna heat up this end and maybe sharpen it a little bit before I try to push it in there. I don't think that's gonna make much of a difference, but oh, it's actually working. What do you know? Okay, now it's not working as well. It's so close. So I can just cut it off. Oh yeah. Ha! That's way better. It's like a lot better. That was absolutely the right choice because this thing is way stronger and more stable. Unfortunately, that pipe also split these two pieces apart a little bit, and I'll have to deal with that later. But next, shaping. Obviously, I should have done that before I attached the giant 8-foot handle to it, but I didn't. All right, I'm expecting this to be probably about the messiest thing I've done in quite a while. I've got several different rasps. I'm gonna put on a mask and just start making dust. I've made a huge mess, but I've got most of the shaping done. These things look really cool. I have learned from my mistakes though. So before I attach these to the spoon, I want to cut some slots in. It's just going to be easier to do without them in the way. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to go about cutting through 3 layers of this foam yet, but I'm going to figure it out. Speaking of spoon, this video is sponsored by Magic Spoon. This video is sponsored by Magic Spoon. Remember the sugar cereals you had when you were a kid? Well, it's like that, except with grown-up ingredients. Magic Spoon is great for a variety of diets. If you're carb conscious, you're looking for high protein and no sugar, this is the option for you. And not only do they have cereals, they also have protein bars. These are actually my favorite. In fact, this is my last one. They both taste great, but grown-ups usually care about numbers. So 13 to 14, 11 to 12 grams of protein, 0 sugar, 1 gram of sugar, and 1 to 2 grams of net carbs or 4 to 5 grams of net carbs. But if you don't care about that, you probably just care that it tastes good. These days, I definitely try to watch how much sugar I take in, and I also try to take in a lot of protein because when I work out, I want it to be useful, and both of these things have quite a bit of protein in them. I also like to eat cereal before bed, and this is a pretty good option. But these are basically what I eat for breakfast. These things are excellent, and this is my lunch, by the way. Chocolate peanut butter. So regardless of whether you just want something that tastes good, or you want high protein, or no artificial ingredients, or no sugar, Magic Spoon is a fantastic option for your breakfast, for your lunch, or your late night snacks. Now, if you want to try it out, you can do it a few different ways. You can go to your local grocery store, you can even find it on Amazon, or you can hit the link down in the description or use the code ILTMS, and that's going to get you $5 off your next order. Be sure to go check it out, and huge thanks to Magic Spoon for sponsoring the video. These things are attached, but the spray adhesive is not really that strong, and if I actually want to use this thing, it'll knock them off very easily. So I'm going to use some bamboo skewers, kind of go in at an angle to lock them in place, and then the whole plan is to fiberglass over this whole thing, which should make it quite a bit stronger. Now, at the beginning of the video, I said that I thought this was a dumb idea, but now that I've gotten this far, and it actually looks like a giant noodle grabber, I'm positive it's a dumb idea. But we're too far in to quit, so next up we gotta do fiberglass. Okay, disclaimer time. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've done fiberglass one time in my life, and it was kind of a disaster, so this is not a how-to. This is a watch Bob bumble through it. As I understand it, you mix up some epoxy. These are the things I have on hand. I hope they're good enough. And then you kind of paint it on the surface. Then you go back and lay the fiberglass mesh over top of that, and then add some more epoxy to squish it all together. It doesn't sound hard. It shouldn't be hard. Let's find out. I'm cutting down some just big pieces that I know are gonna fit over certain areas, but I mean, I can't use just a big sheet like this over the kind of teeth. I have to actually cut down individual pieces and put them on. I'm just breaking my roll down into smaller sections to deal with later. Okie dokie, here goes nothing. I think it's working. I mean, it seems like it's working. You may notice that I'm doing the bottom of this first, and that's because you're not gonna see it as much, so it lets me learn how to do it. Fewer repercussions. Ooh. As I'm getting into this, I'm realizing that one of the things I think went wrong last time was not actually wrong, it's just the nature of fiberglass. There's no orderly way to do this. You're just like slathering the whole thing up and then putting stuff on and then squishing it together. And it feels like there should be a little bit more of a process, but I just gotta learn how to do it this way, I guess. Yeah, everything's sticky. Okay, that was a lot easier. The trick is more resin. I have to say it's actually going pretty well so far, although I've only done the big kind of flat sections, but these are gonna require a whole bunch of small strips wrapped around, which is gonna get really messy. Well, that is difficult to do well, at least the first time. I mean, it started out all right, but man, getting those pieces to overlap and not like buckle and stick out and everything, I don't know how you do it, but at least I get to sand it. Now, the fact of the matter is, this is a silly project, and it's really just a reason for me to learn a couple of new skills, and I am learning. I'm learning that it's actually kind of hard to do fiberglass over complex shapes. At least I need to do more research into how it's done or prepare smaller strips better. I don't know. I'm learning things that I don't know. Luckily, all of this gets to get sanded and painted, and ultimately it doesn't really matter what it looks like. So my experiment with foam and fiberglass is done, I guess. But I did tell you there was a reason for it. And well, we needed a big noodle grabber because we have a big noodle problem. So we have to see if it works. Let's see if we can actually get these out of here. It floats too much. Pick up one at a time. That's not good. So that didn't work super well, and it didn't look super good, but honestly, it doesn't matter. The point was, I had a skill that I wanted to learn and no real reason to learn it, so I made up a dumb reason instead. Hopefully you and I both can remember that not every project has to be useful or practical or have a purpose. Sometimes the purpose is just learning something new, and that's good enough. Thanks for hanging out with me. Catch you next time. And I happen to be in a situation where I have to make a noodle grabber. Noodle grabble. And this is still not a good reason, but I'm... That was pretty bad. Sorry, I should have coughed before I hit record. Figure out the kind of... This is really dumb.